All right. G'day, mate. You look familiar. What was your name again?
Nick Rado, how's it going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good mate. I'm in the midst of I'm just in my bedroom at the moment. The kids have got a teachers only day. So um
Teachers only. Is that what we'd call that a pupil free day?
yeah. Well, they've managed to do a teachers only day weirdly on the Friday before we all have the Monday off for the King's birthday.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Crowdworkcast. My name's Andrew Barnett. Thanks so much for joining me. Got another Zoom episode this week. I jumped on Zoom with my old mate Nick Rado, who is absolutely hilarious. He's a Kiwi comic who I've worked with and been mates with for quite a few years now. An absolute champion. He is in the process of getting ready to film his next comedy special, which we talk plenty about in this one, and we're also going to be gigging together in just a few weeks. I'll be over there in New Zealand visiting with Nick and doing some gigs, so we're going to have a good time there. I'll be in Wellington on I believe the Wednesday night, and then Thursday we're at the Sweatshop, which is a bar, not a sweatshop, and then on the Friday and Saturday I'll be at the Classic in Auckland. So if you are around Auckland or Wellington, more details at the end of the pod, so stick around for that. If you want to follow Nick, he is Nick Rado Comedian on Instagram. Absolutely hilarious. And if you are over in New Zealand and you get a chance to see him, or when he's in Australia, if you get a chance to see him, always check him out. He's a good follow. Give him a follow. But this is our chat. This is me and Nick Rado.
So yeah.
It's funny you should say that. I literally have the same thing with my kids coming up because I think we're the weekend after you will have the King's birthday, and
Right.
I got the message yesterday. Yeah, no, it's a people free day, staff development day. The schools like to call it. It
Yeah.
was so the staff go in and just develop, and yeah, the
Yeah.
kids stay home with you. They get the
Yeah, and
4 day weekend instead of
yeah,
just the three like the rest of us.
that's right.
Oh,
And they stay with us and then go backwards with all their learning. So
mm, mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. The staff develop, though. That's the main thing, mate.
Well, that's it. I'm not too sure what courses they're doing, but I think you would think that the fact that they are the teachers that they would have done all the courses. So
Yeah.
what have they got? What have they got more to learn?
Yeah. Plus, like, how much has, like, your kids are in primary school. How much has year four changed?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, exactly. I feel like there's only so much training you can do. There's only so much upskilling that you can do as a primary school teacher before it's like you just say what it is. Even if they were just honest and just said, "Hey, listen, we're taking advantage. We've got to do these teacher only days for upskilling." But for our own mental health, we decided to go for 4 day weekends. And you're like, okay, fair enough. I'd go for that. But
Yeah,
mm.
guys, we just wanted a good excuse where we can finish at 2 instead of 3, so we can get a jump on the long weekend traffic. It's like, okay,
Dude,
yeah, fair enough.
like even do you know what even as well like our school the kids school I remember school was 9 until 3 and there was no budging from that and so our kids are 2:45 pick up your kids at 2:45 you're like they're just squeezing the day away from us so
2:45.
yeah what is the point in that like
Oh,
just
mate,
go till 3.
I remember, I think we were in primary school, we were 9 until quarter past 3. And then high school, I swear we were at like 3:30 we finished.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 3:30 for sure.
there's no like it was funny too because I remember I'm lucky now. Both my kids are in a high school. They get to get
Yeah,
themselves to and from school on
great.
their own. Like so they're not at the moment. The youngest one's got a broken foot, so I'm picking him up from the train station. But they get
Yeah.
themselves to and from school. But when they were, I remember when I was doing the drop offs and pickups. Like when you're a kid, the school day felt like it went for about a year. Like it just went
Mm.
forever. It was so long.
Yeah.
And then when you're a dad, like you literally feel like you drop them off and then like you do three things and then 10 minutes like, oh man, I got to go
pick the kids
Yeah.
up. Like there's you can't get anything done in the time that they're at school.
Yeah, totally. But now they finish at 2:45. The kids, it still is a long day, but it's only half a year. It feels like for them now.
Yeah, just a sweet 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, totally. They've probably got
Uh,
a couple of teachers days in there as well. So,
oh mate, now we I should probably give context. You are in New Zealand for anyone
oh
who
yes,
didn't do our first episode. Whereabouts are you joining me from today via Zoom?
yeah. So I'm in a lovely place called Orewa or Orewa, as it's pronounced. And yeah, I'm near the beach, but it's pretty miserable weather. Just in the bedroom. Or the COVID office as we called it for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, so in New Zealand and yes, still plugging along. We just finished the New Zealand Comedy Festival, which was exciting, and long
Mm.
and hard, but we got through it. Time elapsed. We wrote a new hour, and I'm
Oh
about to
man.
record the greatest hits of that hour of this year's hour and an hour I wrote a couple of years ago. Next weekend. So what do we? Yeah. So whenever you're listening to this, it'll be the 9th and 10th of June. I'll record it basically.
Oh, the long weekend here in Australia or in Sydney at least. I think we even different states will go different kings
Yeah.
birthdays over here. So
Yeah.
recording, mate. Are you excited or are you? I know there's an arc with these things. Like you lock it in,
Mm,
you go, I'm going to record on this date. There's that initial excitement of locking it in,
mm.
and then you go from that to it just becomes a something in the calendar that you have to do, which is annoying more than it's just
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah. So there's been a lot. So there's lots of things that people don't think about when you're recording a comedy album. Or they
Yeah.
do think about them, but just for me, they slip your mind. Or they're just little. Oh, hold on a second.
What's happening?
I'm just doing a podcast, Billy. Can it wait? Okay, my daughter just wanted to tell me something.
This is real life, man.
This
That's
is
what
real life.
literally my sons were at home alone for a bit last night when I went into a gig, and I said, look, if you need anything, if there's an emergency or whatever you need, just
Yeah,
call me. And
yeah,
I got a call on the way in from my youngest, and it was I'm like I was on another call, and I
yeah,
was like, just hold on, I'm gonna have to take this. It's my son. It could be important.
yeah,
And he's like, Dad, I noticed there's some leftover chips. Can we have those?
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
not what I call an emergency, mate.
But equally, I'm glad you asked because
Yeah,
you can't have them because I was saving them for my after gig snack.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So basically, yeah, things that you don't think about when you're doing a recording. So I've got to deal with a company called Comedy Dynamics, which is an American based Los Angeles. When they do the press release, they start with the
Ooh,
like how arrogant is that? Is just starting with the as a press release. The most important thing is just as Los Angeles.
yeah,
So they just
where
go.
where the press release is getting emailed from.
I know, right? So it's not as if we could actually just do that now from anywhere. It's from LA. So I signed off on all the contracts, and that was all good. And the executive for Comedy Dynamics has since changed hands, and so then basically booked in the recording and booked in the audio engineers and everything, and the venue. And then they just said to me, like 3 days ago, "Oh, hold fire on the recording. We're just going to change. We've got a couple of things to amend on the contract." And then I haven't heard from them since.
Well, this
And
doesn't
so,
sound stressful at all, Nick.
so I'm a week out from the recording, and then I'm like, okay,
Mm,
it's all good. It's gonna happen. It's just I think what they're trying to do is basically the deal that I signed with them was an old deal and it was a very good deal for me. So I
yeah.
think what they're trying to do is just claw some of that back. And it's just yeah. but it's all good. It'll help. It'll happen, and it'll go out in America, and it'll be all fine. But it's just something you just don't need it a week out or 8 days out from your recording. And then the other thing that people sort of forget about is that because I'm doing it, you don't want to just have one bite at the cherry at it. So you don't want to have like, you know, if you forget a joke or there's a heckler or something goes wrong, so you just don't want to do it over one night. So you kind of almost have to do either 2 recordings in one night or 2 over 2 nights. Now the problem with one in one night is it's depending on the venue is getting the people in and out.
Yep.
And so the venue that I'm doing, it's pretty hard to get them in and out seamlessly within the sort of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours. And then also when you do it on one night as well, I've found one of the performances a bit more tired than the other, or and so you kind of, and also you get that feeling of, have I told this joke before, or especially if you go off on tangents or whatever, and then so I've got it over 2 nights, which is great, but you got to fill the room with people that are, and how I'm doing it is I'm not giving away free tickets, so I'm selling the tickets, and so it's going good. Like we're 50% there, half sold, but a week out, you just like, it's just another thing you don't need is like,
Yep.
you know, just getting people in.
Remember when you were thinking back to, like, you know, fantasizing about a life in comedy where you got to do your thing? How much admin did you think you were going to have to do?
Dude, it's so much. Like, it's honestly, I would say it's 80% admin, 20% comedy.
I know, it is insane the amount of admin.
Yeah. Because and also not even the admin. It's like you've got to be somehow you got to be a marketing guru.
Yeah.
You've got to be a real people person to, you know, and then you've also got to be really great on Excel spreadsheets with email databases. And you've got to now be able to like take those Excel spreadsheets and put them into new documents and new AI situations to help you, you know, do mailers and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I didn't really expect that. I guess because there's a comedian called Jared Christmas in the UK. He's a great New Zealand comedian, but he's based in the UK, and he talks about there's some comedians that get like a leg up and get help with all these things, and then there's the foot soldiers. So basically, we've got a oh, look at this, it's all go. Hold on.
Oh, here we go. What's going in here? Someone bringing something into him.
This? No, it's a phone call.
Oh, phone call.
Yeah, it's not an American number.
You know what
so
that is? That's coming from Los Angeles. It's the president of show business.
Yeah.
Nick, we've got the new contract.
Yeah. I better just double check it isn't that.
We want to, it's the new contract, Nick. It's essentially the same, except, we've got a different act doing. It's your material, but we've got someone else delivering the jokes.
Do you know what I'm actually? This is what I think I know, because a good friend of ours, Turner Sparks, he had a similar deal. He just recently did his, and there was a little thing in the contract that he pointed out to me. That's why I signed the other one so quickly, because it didn't have this in it. But this one, yeah. I think they basically want to own all of my material that I do on the show. So whereas before it was just they owned that recording, and so now they kind of want that material as well. So if you go and do other things with it, or they can do other stuff with it. So there's just like a little bit of a wording where I just like, you just got to be careful as to what you're signing away.
Yeah,
they're honestly really great. But they are like any business. If they can get what they want, then they'll go for it. So it's just little ironing outs of stuff where you just like going, yeah. So
add
that's where
contract law to the things you need to know about to be a comedian,
dude. Dude, it is like, honestly, there's so many things. And so Jared Christmas talks about these foot soldiers, and that's what I didn't want to be a foot soldier. I wanted to have the leg up and to have be signed with Live Nation and do all these different things. But apparently that's not the case, and so you have to do it all yourself. The good thing with it is that you can do some really cool stuff. So this particular special that I'm doing, is real different, and it's gonna be. I can't wait to film it and to show it. It's very Kiwi. So basically, I'm filming it in someone's. It's like someone's garage, and so it's basically like a garage party, and there's like 100 people out there. But it sounds more low key than lo-fi that it is. But it's like basically it's this pimped out garage, and they have like concerts there, and like
Oh wow,
yeah, they have like
this is some real Kiwi shit right here.
yeah, dude, it's amazing. And but it's like but we did a show there last year, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever done. It was just so everyone's so pumped to be there. And hold on a second, Bo, what do you need?
This is real life.
Can you have
If
some
you
marshmallows? Can you have some marshmallows?
now,
No, you can't have marshmallows because we're gonna have dinner soon, okay? And I'm also saving those marshmallows to make you rice bubble cake, whatever things for your party. Okay, deal. All right, so that's just going out to the world now. So that's all good. Do you want to say? Do you want to give a shout out to anyone? Shout out to Sam. No, fair enough. You don't
oh, it's
like
shame.
Sam
Sam listens. Sam's a listener. I know.
Sam's a big subscriber.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sam leaves reviews. It's 5-star reviews, comments in the
yeah,
YouTube, the whole thing. Yeah, Sam's massive fan.
he's a big fan. Big
Yeah,
fan.
keeps telling me I should get a
Um,
Patreon.
Yeah, you should. You should. That's another thing you have to do is somehow you have to like do some sort of what is it? What is that called? Level marketing.
Yeah, mate, it is.
So
It's insane the amount of stuff that you thought you just have to write jokes, but it's
yeah, and I guess you're coming to me at a time where it's we've just finished the comedy festival and going into a comedy album, and it's kind of this weird sort of, it is fun, and I am grateful, and the career is going well, but it's just when you've yeah.
yeah,
Like you see other comics, and then all they do is they literally just rock up. They don't have to do any of the like flyers, posters, designs, all that kind of stuff. And also they're on like they're killing it on social media, or they're killing it on TV or whatever. So they don't even have to worry about filling rooms or selling tickets or whatever. It just happens. It's just there. But yeah, this is the kind of the slog of the comedian, and I do enjoy it and I do love it. But it is a lot harder when you're doing it all by yourself. And so yeah, so that's just sort of where we're at the moment. But yeah, going back to the special, it sounds a little bit more lo-fi, but it's actually awesome. Yeah, they have loads of real cool concerts there, and there's like an open fire out to the side and stuff, and
oh wow,
it's gonna look amazing, and it's BYO drinks as well.
oh
So
mate, this is dangerous in
yeah.
New Zealand. BYO drinks.
Yeah, it's gonna be yeah. Honestly, it's great. It used to be BYO chairs as well, for them to sit on, but it was like it
You need
got
to know
too
exactly how
hard.
many chairs are going to be in there.
Absolutely, because some people take the mic and they
Yeah.
pull out, they pull out the double esky and the arm type chairs, and that's what they were finding. Or they would just, because of the filming purposes, they would just have one person with like a real high back,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
thing in the
right in
front.
front of a camera that you need that's locked off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I can't compete with like the people doing specials in front of 2,000 seat theaters and stuff like that. And I remember Bill Burr talking about at one of his first specials before he really took off, and they did the big theaters and they had to give out loads of free tickets, and he said it was good, but like just people aren't really that invested in the show. And I've had this over the comedy festival as well, like when we had to do Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and you kind of like they're a bit of a weird night, so you just sort of like, I'd rather have it full. And so you give out comp tickets or whatever, and they're just not invested. They're just getting something for free, and so they're not the greatest audience members. But then I don't know, I had like one of the nights I had like, it was like half full or something like that, but they were better than the one that it was full of people who comped the tickets out. And so from the rest of the run, I was just like, oh, just whatever the show is whatever the show is. But luckily, we sold out the rest of the run because those people who got comp tickets did our job for me, which is, saying that it was a great show and stuff like that. So at least that's one thing of doing it. But yeah, you just sort of got to worry about that, I guess. And if, yeah, you can have 2,000 people in a room, but if they're all there and they're not invested,
It's
it can be tricky.
well, you want to get to the point where you can get the 2,000 people in the room, but they're the right 2,000. Like they're the
Yeah,
people that want to be there for you. That's the actual dream, not just having 2,000 random strangers to talk to.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's yeah, so that's cool. So I'm looking forward to the special. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking. Yeah, it's going to get there in the end. I think I told you the last special I did. Did I tell you about what happened there? So
Yeah, I know
the
you've
so
told me, but maybe I don't think you've told. I don't
oh
know if you told me on the podcast. So let's go over it anyway.
yeah, let's do it. So my last special with
Mm.
Comedy Dynamics went really well, went great, recorded brilliantly. But 3 days out from so what happens is Los Angeles, they pick the audio engineer, or this is what they did in my first one. This time I picked the audio engineer, but they picked them, and because they're from Los Angeles, and this was the time of COVID as well, so it was all kind of like, like normally I would fly out there, or they would fly over here and do a lot more on the ground stuff. But so they all had to do it online anyway. So they picked this person, and then I had to have like this meeting with this person, and I was like, this it just didn't seem right. They just didn't seem like they knew what they were talking about. Like even little simple questions like what microphone are you gonna use, or what recording equipment are you gonna use to do it, and how are you gonna record the audio. And he said something real that was like a major red flag, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just gonna like mic a lot of the tables." And I'm like, "What do you mean, like actually on the tables?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, don't do that, man." Because you're going to get like people putting their pints down. You're going to get people chatting. You're going to get like little, I
All
don't
the
want
crap we
that
don't want.
sound. Yeah, you don't want all that stuff. You want
That's
like the
that's fine to have a
ambience.
little bit of that, like before the show if you want to
Yeah,
set the tone or whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's not what you want for the whole show.
yeah. You don't want to have like,
Just
people doing
someone in
table
the
orders or whatever.
yeah, someone in the freaking do you want a beer, mate? You want a beer? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
and then you just hear someone fart. Is that you? It's like this
I mean,
conversation going. What's going on with his beard?
totally. And it was
He's a
just,
lot grayer than last time I saw him.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I heard last time we were allowed to bring our own chairs. Just little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But but so I thought, it's just a bit weird. I remember going home to my wife and I was like, something was a bit off with the guy. So I Googled who he was. Anyway, the
Did you meet
first
him in
thing that,
person?
yeah, met him in person.
Okay. So this isn't
And
a
then,
case like it was a Zoom thing where and the big giveaway was, mate, I can't hear you. Your audio's not on.
yeah, that was a big giveaway. Yeah, exactly. That would have been, I wouldn't have been surprised actually if that was the case. So anyway, so I Googled him, and I'm gonna bring him up. I'm gonna start trying. I've blanked his name, but for
Oh,
purpose. But I'll bring him up because let's name him. So if anyone else is recording a thing in uh yeah, it was like a, here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. So it comes up straight away. So there's a guy who like maybe in the early 2000s or whatever. If he scammed a whole bunch of people, pretend he was like a New Zealand's version of Catch Me If You Can. And he posed as a pilot, and what happened is he went into the New Zealand flight school and he stole a bunch of checkbooks, which had New Zealand flight school on it. And then what he was doing, then he went on this big rampage up and down New Zealand, like staying in hotels and buying food and paying loads of and he like stole the pilot's outfit and everything like that, so everyone believed that he was an actual pilot.
this is
And
gold.
yeah, hired yeah, all sorts of like amazing rental cars and all this kind of stuff. And he here he is. Oh yeah, what's his name? Ethan, that's it. Is it Ethan? No. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but it was a
Well,
guy
probably
called
one of his
Ethan.
names.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So this
There he is,
guy,
if you want to.
yeah, hold it up for the camera. So this guy got,
So that guy there.
he doesn't look dodgy at all. Thinks he can
It's,
get away with wearing horizontal stripes. What a lunatic. Is there a crime he won't
so
commit, this bloke?
yeah, and so he basically, and he was the guy, and I was like, I met him, and all that kind of stuff, and I had to call Los Angeles. Like, this is 3 days out from the recording, and this is my first ever American album. Like, I have no power, I have no skin in the game. Like, this is,
Yeah,
I'm recording it from New Zealand, and I feel like I've just said yes to everything just because I don't know, I
because
didn't even know
yeah,
what's going on.
because it's the first one, and you actually, it's that
Yeah,
thing where you're that keen for it to actually happen that you don't want to
yeah.
upset the apple cart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I was like, yes to everything. And then 3 days out, so it was like bugging me. And then I met this, and I was chatting to this guy in Nelson who just happened to be an audio engineer. And he was like I said to him, I'm using this person called Ethan, and he's like, man, I know every single audio engineer around here, and I've never heard of that guy. And I was like,
Because it's
okay, and
not a big country in
no,
general, New Zealand, but it's also not a, that is in any country, not a big industry. Like,
yes, no,
you know
it's
what I mean? Like in most places,
yeah,
an industry of that, proportionally that size, a lot of
yeah,
people know a lot of people. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you'd expect in New Zealand, most established audio engineers to know
Yeah,
of at least a lot of the others.
yeah, totally. And I just had to call up Los Angeles and go, listen, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I think you've hired a con man to record my album. And then they said, well, he seemed pretty legit over the phone, and I don't, he seemed pretty confident. And I kind of found out,
He
I
knows
kind
how to
of
work a telephone.
He knows how to work a telephone. But the reason why I like, because New Zealanders are quite laid back, and he said I talked to two or three, and he was the best of them all. And I was like,
Ah, here
yeah,
we
I
go.
now I know why the Los Angeles guys liked him so much. It was because he was confident. He talked himself up. He was brash. He was just said all the right things and the right times, which is the first giveaway as a New Zealander that's not that's
Yeah,
not what we do. We are downplay. We are we if someone says can we do something, we always go yeah, even if we've got 20 years experience, we go yeah, I'll give it a go. It's pretty yeah, and so yeah, so I had to like scramble and get this audio engineer and like 2 or 3 days out from the record, and managed to do it. And the record was amazing. It was fantastic, and and it all came good. But again, now I'm like doing this as the second album I've done. It's almost like this is par for the course. Like just this is what happens when you record an album, apparently. So
yeah.
yeah. But that
That's
was the story, and yeah, that was yeah. I
I
forgot
love
about that. I
that.
blanked that actually.
Mate, you're not wrong about Kiwis being like low key. Like Australians are reasonably low key when it comes to that, but I think Kiwis are just that next level again,
Yeah.
where it's just, yeah,
Oh,
no fuss. Don't want to be a fuss.
well, this is where Israel Adesanya divides a lot of people here, and I'm a massive fan. I think he's amazing. But there's some Kiwis that like they don't even like even New Zealand media don't even really talk about him. He's one of the biggest stars in the world,
Yeah.
and New Zealand media like he might get a mention if he's of the result of his fight, whereas like the rest of the media is like going so trying to pick his brains about stuff. It's actually criminal, the fact that he's not getting as much attention here from the New Zealand media as he is. But I think the reason is because speaks his mind. He knows what he wants. He's brash. He's confident, and yeah, and there's a huge tall poppy syndrome here, where as soon as you put your head above the parapet, everyone sort of goes, "Hang on, mate, calm
Mate,
down."
Australia
Yeah,
is that we're very similar like that. Like you just
right.
do not like the people who like Anthony Mundine by any measure has done heaps of stuff. But when he was talking about being the greatest and that, it
Yeah.
just put people off.
Yeah.
He had some other views that were sort of a bit crazy too. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting like thing, yeah, where we don't like the bloke. We like the people to be understated.
Yes.
We love the
That's why
competence.
Richie McCaw was like, the greatest All Black and hailed as the greatest,
Cheat.
cheat of all time. But he never said anything. I read his autobiography. I felt like I knew him less. Like,
It's mostly about other people.
it's mostly about other people. There was just like, it was too Kiwi. But people love him. Like he goes into in any bar in New Zealand, and he gets bought drinks for, left, front, and center, and he's just a hero. He's just a hero. But he's not really. I don't think he would have made it in America, if that makes sense, or in the UK, even Australia, maybe. I don't know.
It's
Who
funny.
knows? But mm,
I did some work with Andrew Mertens years ago.
yes,
And I remember because he was doing some stuff on Fox Rugby, on the
yeah,
Fox Sports for the rugby. And I remember talking to him. He was going back for one of the Bledisloe games. This is years ago now. And I said, "Oh, how is it over there?" Because he was living here in Sydney.
yeah,
And I
mm,
said, "How do they still love you over there, Mertz?" And he
yeah,
goes, "Oh, mate." He goes, "It's like, you know, they it's how quick you can be forgotten about." He goes, "Mate, the guy that replaced me is Dan Carter." He goes, "Everything I did, the next bloke came and broke every single record." It's like you want to be forgotten quickly. But just like when you think of like
yeah,
how even he was just low key, low, very
yeah, yeah,
almost low self-esteem in the way he talked about his own career. I'm like, man, you were a
yeah,
freak.
yeah, yeah. And he was like, for people like me who are, a bit shorter and a bit slighter, he was like a hero, because it was like, the All Black jersey was baggy on him. Like it wasn't a thing when they changed to the skin tight situation.
Mm.
And he's such a great guy. I've interviewed him a few times as well for work and things, and he's so funny. Like, because I asked him like, what was some of your tackling advice to pass on to some of my kids and stuff like that. And he said, what you do is, wherever the ball is going, or wherever you think the ball's going to go, you point to the other way, and you say, "I'm covering over here." And then, if you say it with enough confidence and enough, like, if you're busy and you're shouting and go, "I'm over here, and you go, "I've got number 7, I've got number 7." They don't know that number 7 is like on the ground in
Yeah,
the ruck,
being seen by the trainer.
being seen by a trainer, exactly. And so it's interesting, all that stuff. So so going back to the con man scenario of the thing, it didn't quite sit well. So alarm bells flew straight away. So,
But the
but
good
yeah.
news is that guy's not doing your audio engineer for this one. I believe he's directing this special.
I believe in second chances. And so and to be honest, the one that I used last time was busy, so he's the only he's the only guy I got. So yeah, no, we got the A team in. Well, not so much the A team, because there's a guy called Rob Sissons who did my recording last time, and he was amazing. He was so good. But this new team that we've got recording it and filming it and stuff, they do the audio, and they do the filming, and they do the editing, and it's all like a one-stop shop, which is real cool. So yeah, it's one less job I have to do on the comedy foot soldier wagon, or
Mate,
bandwagon, so to speak.
I am very keen to see what this actually looks. This garage, because at the moment, like it's just like so many comedy specials being put out there. Um,
Yeah,
to find that point of difference and to find that thing that makes that pop, like I don't know,
yeah,
there's at the moment I feel like there's things like that where you feel like it's part of an authentic experience rather than just someone who papered a large theater and
large theater, and and it looks all flash, and it's got the blue light behind them on the curtains, and all that kind of stuff. And like the credits and the opening of the show, so I basically got them. There's like basically a wood paneling next to this big massive fire, and we're gonna paint that green, and that's like the green screen, and that's going to be the credits and the title of the show as people are milling around by the fire having a drink. And so it's
oh,
kind of that kind of it's that kind of vibe where you feel like you're in this area, but there's all the stuff that has to happen, which is obviously the credits and the name of the special and so on and so forth. But it's sort of yeah, there's like a live scene in front of it type vibe. And yeah, it's gonna be like cameras within within the audience. And there's gonna be the stage is pretty it's pretty manic. There's like got lots of stuff behind it. I might get them to take a few things down because it's a bit too busy. But it's yeah, it's pretty cool. And as I say, because everyone's bringing their own booze, um and uh they have to park at this place, which is like a 5 minute walk away from the venue. So they've got to go. It's like this massive big car park, which is normally used for it's called the Eyebright, which is like it's like a store in the middle of nowhere type thing. They use their car park at night, and then they've got to like have torches on their phone, and then walk all the way down with their booze, and then find the place, and then out the back of this real cool setup. And we're gonna have food trucks there and stuff as well. So it's gonna be like this real like underground kind of
vibe.
secret gig vibe. And yeah, and then once they get there, it's just gonna be this. It's the Burning Man of New Zealand.
this is this is so Kiwi. This is so good.
Yeah,
I love that you're leaning into that too, because it's just
yeah,
it's always I get more like inspired and just more interested in these ideas of the people that are finding ways to do it different, because it's
yeah,
like yeah, you could, like you said, you don't want to compete on it's not a fair playing ground for you to compete with someone who's been given $70 million to make a comedy special where they can have a theater and they've got a big name and they know how they can just basically put the tickets on sale and sell 8 shows and have
yeah,
25 cameras or whatever. You got to find out how to do it your way, which I
yes,
love. I love that because you've got a very like this sounds like it suits the point of view of your comedy too.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
very
Oh, yeah.
it's a
I
low
yeah.
key, like your sensibilities. It's almost I've always loved when we're doing the cricket show together, and you are my mum's favorite comedian. She'll be very excited that you're recording a new special.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, it's I know what you mean. It's the yeah. And this is what I think as I'm chatting to you, and I haven't even really thought about this, and maybe I should think about this, is I probably will might even do a lot of stuff in the room as well, like a little bit of crowd work. Not it might not even make the special, but just sort of really kind of look at this place, look at we're here, and what are you drinking? What did you bring to the thing? This is the kind of person that comes to the show,
Mate,
and just sort of
100%.
give that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and let's be honest, you'll have like it sounds like you'll have the extra time in
Yes.
terms of that you can leave stuff on the cutting room floor.
Mm.
It has to be an event for the people that are there, and the more you can capture that event, that this was a live thing that you're getting to witness. It's like
Yeah.
who was I was talking to someone about this only a couple of weeks ago about like there are some specials like Bill Burr's got that special where the woman calls out in the middle of one of his bits
That's
and
right.
he
Yeah.
interacts, and that's in a theater and you can't even see her.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
yeah, so Richard Pryor's live from the
Yes.
Sunset Strip. He's
Yes.
got people, he's abusing the audience on stage for turning up late. He's
Yeah,
got a guy
exactly.
taking photos.
Yeah.
He tells
Yeah.
to sit down, and it is just it captures the wildness of
I
that
think you're
moment.
right. Yeah, and I think you're right. And I feel like there's one thing that I've come away from this comedy festival gone, having written a new hour and stuff. I feel like the word that kind of springs to mind, or the inspiration to kind of go again, is like to be more real. Like I did a lot of stuff this year which was really well written and really great jokes, and people like love the craft of it. But I would like to do more stuff that's, more that maybe isn't quite the finished, fully. And then I said this, which totally,
Yeah, yeah.
polishes off the whole joke, and everyone's like, "Oh, that was such an amazing story arc," and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just being a bit more real and a bit more authentic with some of the stuff. And yeah, it's I think that's it. And there's this band in New Zealand called LAB, which are currently doing really great things in New Zealand, Australia. They're just doing a tour of America and stuff. And a mate of mine's the lead singer, is a guy called Joel Shadbolt. And we met maybe 6, 7 years ago. And he was talking. I think I might have even chatted about this on the last episode. But anyway, so they were nothing. Like they had nothing, and they just sort of started out, and they did one album, and they had like one song on there that was really good, and everyone sort of go, "Oh yeah." Then they did their second album, and I said to Joel, like, what was that? And he goes, "That's when we were going to give up, because there was nothing cutting through." And then the third album, we had like our one hit wonder. And then he said, all you need is one song. All you need is one thing to then
Yeah.
go viral, and then to go, the next thing. And then now I think they're on their fifth or sixth album, but
Bloody
they've
hell.
been relentless. They've been like, yeah, I think that. And so that's what I'm sort of driving at, in terms of like, this is what getting me through my second album is
Yeah.
yeah, the next one's going to be the greatest, or whatever. But it could be this one as well, you never know. But it could even just be the style of this new comedy special where people watch it because it's something different, and it's and it's going to a bit more of a place where it's like, it's not a theater, it's not just another special, it's just not another Netflix thing. This is it's a cool event. And
It's
yeah,
also more
yeah,
authentic to how 90% of the gigs guys like you and I do are. Like
yeah,
it's not,
yeah,
most of the gigs aren't the big theater gig. Like
yeah,
you get to do them when you do a gala or whatever, but mostly
yeah,
it's a lot of weird spaces. It's, you get to do some really nice venues, you get to do some really odd venues, but that's part of it. So
yeah.
why not? Like that's actually what you've been practicing for.
Yeah, that's right. And I think yeah, and you feel more I don't know, you feel more comfortable in it. And yeah, so again, I mentioned Jared Christmas again. He's a great comedian, and he inspired me a lot with my emceeing. Like he's one of the greatest MCs going is Jared. And he's a great comedian as well. But he did his special. It was because he was in the UK and doing on the UK comedy circuit, and he did his special, and it was live from a village pub. And that was that whole ethos. It was like he gigs in
Yeah.
pubs all the time. He and some of his best gigs are in a village pub, a little bit rural, a little bit out the way. 100 people, don't like to go into the main big cities, but they have a really great community, and they love their pub. And so yeah, it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. I think it's called Jared Christmas Live at the Village Pub. It's a really great special. And yeah, and he did it in this village pub, and he said it was really it felt great for him to do that. Um the only thing that he said that he would do differently, I think, is
I know. I'm going to guess Mike the
what
tables.
yes, absolutely, is hire a con man
Yeah.
the 3 days out from the thing, is potentially because he had a lot of gear that he had like 10 or 11, 15 years worth of stuff that he hadn't recorded, and so he was trying to get that stuff out. And so I think when that's on your mind, you kind of just do the gear, and if other stuff happens, it does it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
I don't know, you
Yeah.
feel
The
like you're
backlog
not
of gears
free.
is.
Yeah.
I have a bit of that in my head at the moment. Like I haven't recorded anything to put out like in that sense, like an hour or
Mm.
whatever. But obviously done plenty of hours of material, and not all of it's recorded. And then so I was, tossing up. Okay, what do I do? Record, like, when do I get around to recording something?
Mm.
And that thought of, okay, do I go try and capture old stuff that I'm maybe not as into as I used to be, or
Mm-mm.
do I like? I don't know about you. I've got to do the stuff I'm excited about at the time. I think because otherwise,
Yeah.
it's harder to sell.
Oh, totally. And yeah, my biggest concern is like going out there and not having enough stuff. Like that's my biggest concern. And so whenever I do that, I um I sometimes it can be great because then you can just do crowd work and go, I know I have to do 10, 15 minutes of crowd work because, especially when I'm building a new hour or whatever. So people
Yeah.
coming out to see me and it's an hour and I've got like half an hour of stuff that I'm pretty proud of. And then the rest is like, I have to do it to get it out. But, you know, yeah, like for example, this new hour that I did, it was coming in at around about 50 minutes, 51, 52 minutes. And that's fine. That's good. But
Mm.
it was actually really nice at the top of the show that to know I had 5 to 8 minutes just to warm them up and to get them acting as an audience. And I think some of the times that was like, not to bag on the material, but sometimes like those were the greatest moments in the show was that first 7 to 8 minutes getting them going. And yeah, I think that's just and we're just speaking out loud now, and it's a podcast, but more of a inside how to do a special. I think that's what I will do definitely is instead of just come out there with the gear and almost how I did my last special was I came out like it's almost like the edit, like I was doing the edit version of the show
Yeah.
rather than let the editor do their job and take moments whatever moments they want to take and almost let their creativity flourish and what they think that they can do with it rather than trying to go this is what I because I even did it in the order that I wanted the special to be in. Do you know what I mean? Like it
which
wasn't instead of like a natural thing.
which everyone, if people don't like probably the random person wouldn't realize that you can do it out of order and they can reorder it in the edit. Like it's
Totally.
that. But so logically, like if you were saying tomorrow you're going to record a special to to a person who's never done any of it before, that's probably how they do it. But
Yeah.
now, having been through the process, you're very aware of okay, we can mess with this order in the edit, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And you can even like and so I always thought that the start of the show had to be at the start of the show. And so like,
Time's a
and
flat
it's
circle.
and so I was just like, and that's how I did it. And even like when I put it out, it's like, this is it, this is it. And but now I think I mean, you could put the best joke at the top and just and put them in. Um, put it at the top there and get them hooked in, and or if there's like a major moment in the thing where it happens halfway through, you can just cut that and put it at the front. So
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of learnings from the first one, and I think this one's going to be there will definitely be learnings from this one too. But I think yeah, like I was like I did like 4 or 5 practice hours before the show of the actual hour. I had like it all listed out. I even had it like on the side of stage where I was like trying to make sure they had everything listed and done and then this hour I'm like I've just come off the comedy festival so that really helps doing 2 or 3 weeks of hours and so I know this stuff inside and out but now I'm sort of like I've had a couple of days off and haven't even looked at it and so I'll go do a show tomorrow where I'm headlining tomorrow and I'll get a majority of it done then. I'm doing a corporate on Tuesday which I'll do a majority but then I'm not really going to have a look at it. I'm not really going to stress about it and too much until the Friday Saturday recordings and that is I mean, it seems ludicrous because it's like, oh, this is your legacy. This is the second album, and this is it. But in my mind, I feel like this is a better way to approach it because it's just like a normal gig.
Well,
Then,
this is the thing. It's like the thing you've done for years is normal gigs in your head. So
yeah,
you're just trying to capture the thing you've been to a different degree, but you're trying to capture the thing you've been practicing for. The thing you've been practicing for isn't
Yeah.
stressing and being, making sure everything's word perfect and making a TV show. The thing that you
Yeah.
practice for is capturing this beautiful live thing in the room, which is
Yeah.
where, like, if like the only thing I'd say to you as someone who's going to watch it would be get all that stuff in the. Don't be scared to get all that stuff in the room, because if it's a
Mm,
fascinating environment that people aren't used to seeing, the fact
mm,
that little details like the fact that it's BYO,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is that's
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like, you can't not acknowledge that for someone who, in the, like, you think about all the weird places around the world that people might sit and watch it. They go,
Yeah.
what is BYO? Like, oh, they brought their
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
drinks. Like, what? This is it's completely different
Yeah.
um to anything. They're weapons in your arsenal. So use them. Have
Yeah.
have fun with it, and then
I
and
might
like you
even,
said, if it hits the cutting room floor, it hits the cutting room floor. But don't don't leave your powder dry on that stuff.
yeah, and I think I might even, as you say, lean into like even just walking around the place and just going, listen, if you don't believe me that this is someone's garage, like here is the roller door. Can we
Yeah.
put the roller door down? And then they put it down and go, "Rrr," like whatever. And it's like just little stuff like that where it's and even just chatting like, how did you get here? Where did you park? Did you, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Mate, I'd be getting as much B-roll of people walking up the hill with their torch lights on,
Yeah,
roller door going down,
yeah,
up,
yeah,
lighting the fire, all
yeah,
that sort of
man.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
That
good.
and so
It's a good
where
shout.
like the stuff that's become the cliche is the comedian walking up, up the back stairs of the theater. Like, even just you parking your car, put getting your phone out and walking up the hill.
Totally,
That,
man. Well,
that
even
is so good.
yeah, even the first album. So you spend so today or yesterday, I've been in comedy for 18 years.
Oh,
18 years?
congratulations,
18 years in comedy. I'd
mate.
say 16 of it.
Your comedy's legal.
Comedy's legal. 16 years, like I would say, is um doing it properly. Like the
Yeah.
first 2 years was just like, yeah, I think I did like 7 gigs or whatever. But so yeah, yesterday, and then so I spent so I did my first recording 2 years ago. So what that would be 16. So I spent 16 years getting all this material together, and then I did the typical comedy special thing of let's film a little sketch before you're in the green room before the special, and that can be the start of the special. And I'm like, yeah, of course, of course. I spent 16 years honing this material to get it to the point where I'm recording it and releasing it and across. And then the first thing that I put out there as I want people to see is this thing that I was pressured and forced to make. That we took three versions of it to do because it wasn't funny. And then also as well, like I was doing kind of half jokes of the stuff that I was going to be doing in the special. Like it was just kind of it was so weird. And then I didn't even think about it until I was like looking back at it, and I was like, man, that's such a rookie mistake to kind of because I was just basically trying to copy everyone else because I thought that is what you had to do. And I tried everything to make it look like a special, like a comedy special. And I think that's where I would say to anyone else who's doing a special, that's not special. You've got to put the word and the
Yeah.
emphasis and the meaning behind special again, because I feel like I feel like that's the most important thing you can do is be different and be authentic and be yeah, and make it a special. It used to be a special to record like that was yeah. Not many people used to record their stuff and
Mm.
put it out as an album. It used to be a rare thing, but now with technology and stuff, anyone can do it. But it's funny how we all do it the same way. And apart from a few people who break the mold and it's always memorable, like Maria Bamford and stuff, like
Mm.
doing a special that starts with her talking in the mirror, then doing it to one person, then do it to two people, then it's a five, six, seven, and then it's a big theater. It's genius. It's an amazing way to do it. And and just thinking about stuff like that. I think now, because there's so many out there at the moment, it's time it's a the time is ripe for something different now. But then what's going to happen is people are going to be doing it differently, and then the people are going to be so sick of seeing
Yeah.
different stuff that they'll go, oh, just give me a theater. I don't want to, I don't want someone's, backyard. I don't want to be at a tourist trap.
I think I
Yeah.
think the key is, and this is like why I'm loving this idea for you, is it's not necessarily just trying to do something different, but finding a way that suits you and where you're at and what you're
Mm,
doing and how
mm,
you do your
mm.
comedy that's reflective of that. Like the capturing more
Yes.
than just this is a bunch of material I assembled. Um,
Yes.
capturing, how you're doing comedy, like how like that feeling in a room in a weird place that you know
Mm,
people don't see, and that's the thing I'm excited about seeing with yours, because
mm,
it's it is like, yeah, like you said, anyone can do as many weird things as they want, but unless it's authentic to the what you're doing and where you're
mm,
coming from, then
mm.
that even comes off as tropes and forced. And
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. And I think, yeah, that's actually, yeah, you nailed it. Because yeah, you can try and be different for different sake, and audiences are very smart, I think, in terms of
especially these
smelling.
days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in terms of smelling something that's off, or smelling something that's like, and that's what I felt like some of the jokes and stuff in the comedy festival I just did. It wasn't that they were smelling stuff that was off. They were just almost like, just some of the stuff was it was too perfectly written in a way. It's not to big up myself too much, but it's just I think I spent too much time making it so circular that it was like it didn't, yeah, that it became like I don't know,
Craft,
like
rather
a craft.
something that you
Yeah.
admire for the craft rather than something that.
And that was the admiration it was getting. It was like there was laughs and it was great, but there was a lot of like, there was applause breaks, not because of the laughter element. It was because of like, oh, that was, seamless. That was perfectly, I didn't even see that coming type situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's real interesting. But I think, in a way, I think that's what we've got to do. Like we've got to play by the rules a lot, to then kind of go, that was the most perfect I can get it, and then go, but it still wasn't quite right. And then once you realize that's powerful, because then you realize it doesn't have to be perfect. And then if it doesn't have to be perfect, the pressure comes off. When the pressure comes off, the performance levels go up, and then it's effortless, and it's and it's natural. And I think that's when people really tune into that, and they connect with that, and they go, oh, that's the thing that you wanted. And then, yeah, just, I don't know, I just wish it wouldn't have taken 20 years to hit that point or hit that learning.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, but some comics
Unfortunately,
get it straight away. Some comics, and this is to give them, and I know at the beginning of the podcast was like, oh, there's foot soldiers and there's people get legs up. Those people get leg ups and stuff and get thing. A lot of them actually are that. They get it straight away. But then what happens is sometimes they just absolutely get it straight away and then they become superstars, and sometimes they get it straight away and then they don't actually haven't quite mastered what they're doing.
mm,
And so then they sort of fall off the rails, or it's hard for them to repeat that success, because then they're trying to repeat it, and then it's, yeah, so it's a slippery slope, and yeah, it's a tricky one.
yeah. And the only thing I think any of us can do is just work out how to do it our way, rather than
Mm,
anytime you start looking around chasing a trend, I think you're putting
mm.
yourself behind the eight ball. You got to do whatever you got to work this out the best way for you to work it out, rather than
the
trying to.
the best analogy of that I've heard, I can't remember who it was, but it's like you got to think of it like trends as in like waves, like literal waves. And if you're a surfer, if you're trying to catch the wave, you're never going to catch it. But if you set yourself and go, this is the wave I'm going to catch, and it's three waves over that way, but I'm gonna put myself in the best possible situation to catch that. It's not now, it's not even the next one, it's not even the one after that, but when that other wave comes, that's the one I'm gonna catch. And so you've got to almost look at it like that. So yeah, if a trend is happening and you're trying to get on it now, you might scramble on it, but it's hard. It's a hard one. And then once you found that you try to chase that wave or that trend, and then you miss it, and then then they go, oh, but this is the next one coming through, and then you're in the worst possible situation to
Yeah,
catch
exactly.
that trend or that wave. So yeah, it's again, man, I wish I had that advice 16 years ago, 18 years ago.
Hey.
or what I would call 9 waves ago.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, mate, I'm actually coming down there real soon
Yes.
to do a few gigs. You'll be post
Yes.
recording. You'll be relaxed.
man.
I'm guessing you're going to be triumphant.
Yes.
Um,
Well, yeah, for sure. I think
So, do you want to
it's
give those gigs a plug that we'll be at?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be at a place called Johnsonville, which is in Wellington, which is we're doing a fundraiser for Rado Intermediate, which is it's an amazing gig. I think it's about our 5th or 6th year doing it, and it's I think it'll be about 250 people crammed into their hall. They have the local teachers there are all in a band, and they do the warm up music for the show. And
I demanded. I said, if I'm coming, I want to see some authentic Kiwi shit.
Yeah,
And this sounds like is what I'm going to get.
Absolutely. And so, so I guarantee you that on the teachers only day, that's what they've been doing. They've been practicing for this.
You're coming in too early. Listen to the drum beat.
Okay, again, 4, 7, 6, and then and so that's Rara Intermediate. So it'd be myself, you, and a fantastic Irish comedian called Alan McElroy, which will be on the bill as well.
Oh, nice.
And so it'd be an international flavor. And then we're going to go to Thursday, I think it's the 15th of June, and then we'll fly back up to Auckland, and then there's a bar called the Sweat Shop, and everyone there is 11 years old who's working.
Excellent. I need a new pair of sneakers. This will be great.
Exactly. And so it's a real awesome bar. And so we're going to be doing this thing called Laugh Island, which is a concept that I've come up with, which is basically the first half of the show we'll do stand up. And so me, you, a fantastic comedian called Liv McKenzie, and Tara Mahumbai is going to be there too. And we do stand up for a little bit, and then we have a break, and then in the second half we'll be doing like a game show, like a Love Island game show type thing. We'll be getting like couples up and ripping them a new one, and dating people together, and it's going to be real fun. So it's going to be like a game showy type with comedians. So think of like the old school game shows like Blind Date and all that kind of stuff, but with 3 comics on the side taking the piss out of every moment of the game, which will be fun. And then I think then you're on at the classic Friday, Saturday, and then we're off to Waiheke Island to do a tax write-off comedy writing lunch.
Perfect.
Yeah. So no, it's going to be fun, and I think that's June 14th that week. So it starts on the Wednesday down in Wellington, and then finishes up in Auckland on the Sunday. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to hanging out, and it'd be great to show you some snippets of the special.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Mate, thank you so much for doing this. You jumped on last minute when I've literally got you at your busiest time. So thanks so much for doing this. And looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
No worries, mate. We'll see you soon. Hooroo.
Cheers.
Bye.